So yes, what is the meaning of inner apartment? Dr. Roylett's room. Dr. Roylett's chamber was larger than that of his stepdaughter, but was as plainly furnished, means there was very little furniture. A camp bed, a small wooden shelf full of books, an armchair beside the bed, a plain wooden chair against the wall. Let us turn pages. A round table and a large iron safe were the principal things which met the eye. So there was a large iron safe also. Holmes walked slowly round and examined each and all of them with the keenest interest. So Sherlock Holmes inquired each and everything very minutely in Dr. Roylett's room. What's in here? He asked, tapping the safe. He tapped the safe. And he said, what is in that safe? My stepfather's business papers. There isn't a cat in it? No. What a strange idea. Why? Holmes said, I thought there is a cat in this locker. She said, why anyone will lock a cat here? Well, look at this. He took up a small saucer of milk which stood on the top of it. He asked this because there was a saucer of milk on the top of the locker, iron locker. No, we don't keep a cat, but there is a cheetah and a baboon. Yes, of course. Well, a cheetah is just a big cat, and yet a saucer of milk does not go very far in satisfying its wants, I dare say. So Holmes said, yes, I understand cheetah is a cat, but cheetah's hunger cannot be satisfied with this saucer of milk. There is one point which I should wish to determine. He squatted down. Squatting is when you bend your knees and do like this. He squatted down in front of the wooden chair and examined the seat of it with the greatest attention. Thank you. That is quite settled. So he examined the chair also very keenly. Said he, rising and putting his lens in his pocket. So he was doing it with his lens. I think that I have seen enough now, Miss Stoner, and with your permission we shall walk out upon the lawn. Now they forwarded to the lawn. I had never seen my friend's face so grim or his brow so dark as it was when we turned from the scene of this investigation. Who said this? Dr. Watson said. Grim means serious. Dr. Watson said, I have never seen Sherlock Holmes so serious about any investigation or after any investigation. We had walked several times up and down the lawn, neither Miss Stoner nor myself liking to break in upon his thoughts before he roused himself from his reverie. So he said that Sherlock Holmes was so lost, and so many times they had taken a round of the lawn, but neither Helen Stoner nor Dr. Watson wanted to disturb Sherlock Holmes' imagination, thinking where he was, what he was thinking. It is very essential, Miss Stoner, said he, that you should absolutely follow my advice in every respect. Now was the time he knew something, and he said that Sherlock Holmes said to Helen Stoner, you have to follow my advice, whatever I say. I shall most certainly do so. In the first place, both my friend and I must spend the night in your room. I believe that is the village inn over there. Now Sherlock Holmes decided that Holmes and Watson, both of them will spend a night in Helen Stoner's room, means in Julia's room. And he decided they will wait in a hotel, in a village inn. Yes, that is the Crown, the name of the inn. Very good. Your windows would be visible from there? Certainly. You must confine yourself to your room on pretense of a headache when your stepfather comes back. Then, when you hear him retire for the night, you must open the shutters of your window and put your lamp there as a signal to us, and then withdraw quietly with everything which you are likely to want into the room which you used to occupy. The rest you will leave in our hands. So the plan was, Holmes and Watson will stay in a hotel, and from the hotel window, Julia's room will be visible. They will take that kind of room. And when Dr. Roylott will retire for the night, he will go to sleep in his room. Then Helen Stoner will lit a lamp, and she will show the lamp to them as a signal, and then they will enter the room, Helen's room, Julia's room. So you can see in this picture, she is lighting, a light is coming and they are watching it, and now they will go. But what will you do? We shall spend the night in your room and investigate the cause of this noise which has disturbed you. And now, Miss Stoner, we must leave you, for if Dr. Roylott returned and saw us, our journey would be in vain. Goodbye and be brave, for if you will do what I have told you, you may rest assured that we will soon drive away the dangers that threaten you. And he said that we are going to that hotel, but you be brave and be safe. Whatever I have told you, if you follow it, you will be out of danger. Holmes and I had no difficulty in engaging a bedroom at the Crown Inn. From our window, we could command a view of the avenue gate, means this mansion gate, and of the inhabited wing of Stoke Moran Manor House. At dusk means evening, we saw Dr. Roylott drive past, his huge form looming up beside the little figure of the lad who drove him. Lad is a boy. So both of them, they saw from the window of the hotel inn that Dr. Roylott came back, and the driver who was driving, the boy who was driving, was a very small kind of boy, was a very small figure as compared to Dr. Roylott. About 9 o'clock, the light among the trees was extinguished, all gone, and was all dark in the direction of the manor house. 2 hours passed slowly, means it is now 11 p.m. Suddenly, just at the stroke of 11, it's 11, a single bright light shone out right in front of us. That is our signal, said Holmes. Springing to his feet, it comes from the middle window. A moment later, we were out on the dark road, a chill wind blowing in our faces, and one yellow light twinkling in front of us through the gloom to guide us on our somber errand. So yes, now they were out of the hotel room and they were moving towards this center room, Julia's room. And now they were going for that serious task. Making our way among the trees, we reached the lawn, crossed it, and found ourselves inside the bedroom. Now they reached the bedroom, this Julia's bedroom, where Helen Stoner was right now inside. She was there. My companion noiselessly closed the shutters, moved the lamp onto the table, and cast his eyes round the room. Then he whispered into my ear gently, "The least sound would be fatal to our plans." I nodded to show that I had heard. So Dr. Watson had closed the window and everything, and he said, he whispered into Holmes' ears that least sound, even very small sound, would be fatal to our plan, would destroy our plan. We must sit without light. He would see it through the ventilator. I nodded again. Yes, Dr. Watson said that we have to close the lamp also, because that from that ventilator, Dr. Roylott can come to know that some light is there in Julia's room. I nodded again. So Sherlock Holmes did like this. Holmes had brought up a long, thin cane. Long, thin cane. See, any cane is Dundee. Why he had brought this Dundee cane? And this he placed upon the bed beside him. Then he turned down the lamp and we were left in darkness. 12 struck, and 1 and 2 and 3 and still we sat waiting silently for whatever might befall. So after 11, it was 10 p.m., it was 11 p.m., then 12 p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m., it was 3 p.m. and they were waiting what is going to come on them. Suddenly there was a momentary gleam of a light up in the direction of the ventilator. Suddenly they saw light from the ventilator, which was succeeded by a strong smell of burning oil and heated metal. Somebody was burning some oil, that lamp was lit and metal was being heated. Why? Someone in the next room had lit a dark lantern. Why dark? Because Dr. Roylott did not wanted the bright light. So he had lit a dark lantern and it was coming from his room. I heard a gentle sound of movement And then all was silent once more. For half an hour, I sat with straining ears. After that, for half an hour, Holmes sat with very straining ears, like what sound he is hearing. Then suddenly another sound became audible, a very gentle, soothing sound like that of a small jet of steam escaping continually from a kettle. Then what kind of sound started coming? Like if in a kettle the water is boiling and now the steam wants to escape. This way sound was coming. The instant that we heard it, Holmes sprang from the bed, struck a match, Teely jalai, and lashed furiously with his cane at the bell pull. So what he did, he struck a match and he lashed furiously, angrily with his cane, he lashed on the bell pull, on that rope of the bell. Why he did this? You see it, Watson? He yelled. You see it? And he shouted, Watson, you saw? What is there? Watson, you see it? You see it? So this way he shouted.